Hi, I'm John from Reuben. I'm not David Hasselhoff, as you might think I am. I've recently let my hair go. I've been working on a house in my spare time and just haven't had time to get to the barbers. But with the extra length, I think it's given me time. I could do like a bowl cut or even just a mohawk or something, you know, how about an undercut like dirty back there. But it's something I'll consider in my own time. Right now, we're going to concentrate on learning the bass part Stuck in My Throat by my band Reuben. As you can see, I'm going to use a bass. When I recorded the song, I used a Music Man bass that was lying around the studio. Generally, I use Fender stuff. I've always found that the precision bass is really cool, it cuts through really well, but with the Music Man, we're able to sort of add an extra level of a bit more growl, a bit more bass to it, which we kind of really require in a song because of the dynamics. But I'll use my precision today, and this is what I've been using on the road since we recorded it, basically, which is about 3 or 4 years ago now. So ready to go. I'm also using a plectrum. Sometimes I play songs with fingers, classic finger style, like the V's, but in a pleasant way. But I've been using a plectrum because we use a lot of chords and stuff with the bass. Being a three-piece, we need to kind of pad out the sound sometimes when Jamie's playing a fat solo or something. So as you can see here, instead of playing, for example, just an open note, I could play. And just the extra, being able to play the extra chords will just thicken it up a little bit. I also use a lot of bass distortion within the songs, which means that, again, if Jamie does another one of his fly solos, I can flick on the distortion and hopefully the gap that's been created while Jim wandering off has been filled somewhat. So hopefully we'll look at that, but we're using both plectrum, chords and distortion and hopefully a bit of tuning within the song. So we're going to look at Stuck in My Throat, so here we go. The tuning for this song, we'll tune the fattest string to C sharp. The next string down, which is generally the A string, becomes a G sharp. The next string up becomes a C sharp, and the string after that becomes an F sharp. If you notice what we've done there, we've taken a standard tuning and dropped it down a semitone, and then we've taken the fattest string and lowered it another whole tone. So it's kind of like drop D on guitar, but it's actually drop C sharp. So here we go, this is Stuck in My Throat. The opening riff, easy enough, it comes in, you have an intro with the guitar where he's playing a little bit. It's kind of like this kind of sound, you know, nice atmospheric vibe. Then you have a counting with the drums, and then the guitar plays a riff just for 2 bars. With the bass, we just copy the root notes of the riff, nice and simple, but don't slide in or anything like that. It's nice to add the impact as soon as the bass comes in, add a bit of depth and dynamic. Something that's really important with this song is the dynamics. You've got a lot of big, heavy riff, and you've got nice, gentle choruses. So you kind of need to emphasize those points because you don't want to have something that's just one constant throughout, otherwise it's boring for everyone to hear. Okay, so the first riff, after all my waffling, is easy enough. It starts on the 1st fret, which is this, which if I look at my tuner, I could tell is, well, with my rubbish tuning scales, it's about a D, but 1st fret with the C sharp tuning. So it goes something like this. So it's just the first three frets what you need. So first one is, if you can see that, it's the, what would be a G, but is actually the 3rd fret and is an E, as my guitar tells me, my tuner. Okay, so easy enough. You usually use the hammer-on technique with your hands, so, and use the open note as your end of the phrase. So repeat something like this. And what we've done there, you do 3 rounds of that and then slide up into the next part, the verse, which is Okay, so we'll look at this riff and we'll move into the first verse. If you guys want to play along with me, it goes something like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. See what I've done there is the first note of the verse is nice and slides up from the riff and goes into this bit, which waits for a minute, and then I've struck the note again, but instead of just playing the note a second time, I've tried to add a bit of flavour to it just by doing a slight little tweak, just by going back a fret, if you can see. something like that. I mean, it's easy enough if, just to play one note or a chord or an octave, something like that. But I personally like just twiddling around a little bit with the frets around it on maybe the same string, which is what I've done here. I like doing little slides and throwing in little extra frets here and there and everywhere, and just keep it a little bit more interesting instead of just your standard root notes. Because Jamie's playing the guitar, you don't want to be fancying around playing really high stuff there unless it really works. Just do what works with the band. You need to listen to what the drums are doing and what the guitar are doing, and just make sure you don't conflict and contrast with what they're doing, because that's when it could fall down a bit. People who have swapped from guitar to bass have tried to maybe play more funky stuff or tried to include bits they've learned on guitar. Sometimes it doesn't, it doesn't cross over very well. You don't need to be overly complicated. Just because you've got 4 strings doesn't mean that you need to fill the void by playing something a bit more complicated. By all means, do something funky or something crazy or creative, but it doesn't need to be, I'm in here, this is where I look. The bass should neatly sit in the middle. Throw yourself around stage, jump off speakers, and as long as you're careful, don't go home and throw yourself off the kitchen table and your mum will come after me. I don't want that. What I find with this song is the riff pops up every now and again amongst verses, so you do a bit of riff and there's a bit of verse and there's a bit of riff. Once you kind of got one of the riffs and you kind of got one of the verses, generally you'd be able to freestyle along to the end of the song. You'd be able to pick it up as you go along. It's easy enough. But I'll just show you the first bit. So if you want to play along with me, we'll do it after 2 bars. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. See, this is now where I've kind of got a little bit funky with it. If you're listening to the guitar part as well as the bass part, which you should all be doing, the guitar lets the note ring, and now he's created that space, you could do something with it. What I've chosen to do here is do a run, which goes... Easy enough. It's just these notes. If you felt it was a bit too much, you could just leave it as another blank. But you've been given this space, try and do something with it. So I've chosen to do this run. It sounds like this. What I did there, the second time round as it repeated, I chopped off the last little bit, stopped, and then it's going to go back into the riff. After 3, we'll do that riff. We'll do 2 bars of 3. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. See what I've done there? I've moved on to the next part. It's kind of a pre-chorus, as it were. Once again, it's easy enough. There's literally 3 or 4 notes. You start here, 8th to the 7th to the 4th, so it goes. And then do a walk up. Easy enough. With the bass, it's always good to kind of stretch your fingers as much as possible. As we slide down, as you walk up, easy enough. So if you'd like to play along with me, and what I've done there is the first time around it kind of nice and slow, leisurely, and then the last run of the pre-chorus, it kind of builds up to a bum 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 bum. And if you notice, the guy who's playing drums, he'll be playing a similar thing with his drums, maybe using the bass drum or the toms to kind of emphasise that it's building up to something exciting. I was talking at the start about dynamics, and this is where it really comes apparent. You know, you need to show that you're going to build up to the chorus. You know, you need to actually build it up, and you know, you've got the tools to play it. You can use really quiet notes, or you can be like, or you know, same riff. You know, you're just trying to find a different way of doing it. So if you guys want to play along with me, we'll do a 2-bar counting, and then we'll just play that pre-chorus there. Okay, nice and easy. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. What I did there was went into the first bar of the chorus. It's quite stop and start, so it's kind of a rhythm thing. So it might be something that you want to perhaps pause, go back and just practice to get it dead on. So dun 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 dun. I personally use Jamie's vocals as a guide to what I'm doing. I never remember the words, but the melody and the rhythm, they help me learn what I'm playing. Because you have, you know, the guys around you, the drums, the guitar and the vocals, use the parts to kind of keep you on track, you know, keep you in time. So leaving the pre-chorus, I'll go straight into the chorus, play it through for you, and then we'll go and try it together. So it goes something like this. So I did 3 rounds of the same, and then at the end, to emphasise the end of the chorus, we do a slightly different note. So instead of, on the 4th time round, instead of going up, we actually go down to this note. And it actually leads quite neatly back down to that riff anyway. Instead of being higher up on the fretboard and having to go back, it's actually leading you halfway there as it was anyway. All I can suggest with the chorus and moving into that is to keep a kind of nice constant rhythm, the dun da 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 dun da 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 dun da 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 da. You don't want it to be kind of sort of airy. You want it to be nice and solid and strong. Especially if you're doing something simple, make sure it's nice and strong. That's kind of what you need to be, or where you need to be doing that. Okay, so we've gone into the riff, which is easy enough. We've worked that already, and we'll move back into this time the second verse, which is essentially the same as the first verse. Just repeating. The pre-chorus. Instead of going to a second chorus, it actually goes to a middle eighth kind of thing. I'll be using the distortion pedal here, so watch for the change and I'll explain as and when it happens so you guys know what's happening. Okay, so here we go, second verse. Back to the riff. There we go. We've got the distortion to try and add a bit of heaviness, space to it. did there was go into the next part out of it. With the middle eighth, as you see there, I turned the distortion pedal, the distortion pedal, and what it is Jamie's playing some chords, just kind of a one singular note throughout. And to kind of keep the rhythm going, to kind of keep a bit of power going, I've turned on the distortion pedal. I've always used this one type of pedal. I've tried several different pedals, but this is the one for me that retains a kind of a bass sound. It's a bass Boss overdrive. Any music shop does it, easy enough. So after the riff, we go into the open, fourth, back to third, sixth, if you notice there, when I was playing at that time, I did a slide up to the octave, which is, if you see the first fret there, the octave would be the first fret there. After the 12th, at the 12th, it duplicates. So if you play this note here, it's the same note, just the octave equivalent. And what I did there, instead of staying on the same note for ages, which is, drags a little bit, I've done this. I've kind of just thrown a little bit extra in to make it feel good. So, if you guys want to try the same kind of thing, we'll try that, and then we'll go into the next part. Now, the next part comes from me, I play, if you notice there, I play chords. Because we're using drop D tuning, instead of playing a power chord, if you play guitar or you've seen guitar, power chord is this setup here. But because we're playing drop D, all the notes are in a line here. So you can just play a chord like that. It's quite hideous sounding, but with the distortion on, it kind of thickens up a little bit. But I've included that at the end of the middle eight to try and add a bit of power, just so that doom, 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 that kind of vibe. It's turning into kind of horror film. Everyone's always so sorry. I'll play you this bit, we'll go into the next bit, and I'll show you the bit that follows the middle eight. Okay, follow me. The end, now the chords. And we stop there because that is actually how the next chorus goes. There's it's the same chorus as we've heard previously, except this time there's slight differences to it. There'll be nice and chop and there'll be some singing parts. If I run through it, and then I'll go back and we'll break it down together, it'll be good. Okay, so this is we go. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. I'll show you the next part of that. But as you can see, same chorus with the first two rounds slightly different. So it starts off, moving on from the pre-chorus, we'll start off with the chorus. It goes, that's the pre-chorus. We go into the verse, the chorus. And I thought I heard you say, which is Jamie's line, sang in a kind of Monty Python style. But you can see we've all stopped in the same place, dead on, so that you can emphasise that quite a bit. And when we all kick back in a few bars later, a few notes later, it'll all be bang on dead together, hopefully. Sometimes we go wrong, sometimes it's perfect, but generally this is what the key is to make it seem exciting and live and professional when you play it together as a band, is that everyone stops and starts at the right kind of place. So, we'll do the chorus. I'll show you the first stop, which is, so it's 1, 2, 3, 1. So you've missed out the notes in between, but they're the same notes. None of the notes has changed from the previous chorus. And then, so we'll do that one. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is one that's slightly trickier. Instead of stopping, this time it goes dum 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 dum. You know, it kind of, everyone slows down at the right kind of, slows the tempo down at the right kind of time. So it's dum 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 dum. But this is something that a little bit of practice will get you used to. Just listen to it on your CD player, on your MP3 unit device player, and just get it together so you can just get it nice and tight. And it's literally just practice. That kind of thing is nothing more than, anyone can get it easy enough. It's just practice. So we'll do the first two. If you guys want to play along with me, we'll do 2 bars of 3, and then we'll go to the first 2 rounds. So it's 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And I thought I heard you say, let's go back to the existing version. It goes down to the lower note. Next part, which is essentially going to be the next part to the end. So after we've gathered up all these parts, you should be able to run through it all, maybe stop and check each bit one at a time. Makes it nice and easy. So we've done the first 2 bars together, then it's the same chorus we've done before, and then it changes for the end chorus. To add a bit of power. It's quite a sad part of the song. Just watch me, I'll run through it all and just make sure that everyone's kosher with what's happening. This is moving on into the second half. So we've done all the stop starts, this is the next part that's coming up. So you're on the 4th fret, 3rd, 1st, 3rd, 4th. It's repeating. So it does alternative ones to keep it nice and interesting, really. And it basically just repeats the end. Jamie will be playing on his guitar something that's like da-na, 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 na-na, which is kind of an off kind of beat, but you need to just keep it going nice and steady with the bass to kind of make sure that the rhythm isn't lost. At that point in the song, I'm normally singing harmony anyway, so I just kind of play blindsidedly until it's done. The tempo changes slightly at the end as it kind of builds up the last part, makes it just a little bit more interesting to end. Instead of doing like a fade out ending, I always find that fade out endings are kind of a cop out. Like we couldn't think of how to finish the song, so we just kept playing until the producer turned it down. I mean, if you got a killer chorus, then perhaps it works. I've never really found it work, but I'm always a fan of songs that end on dead. So with this song, it ends on the 4th fret. And it's just the riff we've been playing all along, the easy enough, and that's the very last thing. So if you would just do a little counting, just do that last tiny little bit together. I'll do the 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. let the last note ring out. At this point in the song, I'll be using distortion pedal just for. I've kept it clean up until the middle 8 when it came on, and it stayed on till the end there, just kind of to accent where the song's kind of crescendoed, basically. But it's an easy song. You know, there's sort of 3 or 4 main kind of riffs and verses. You know, once you get the hang of those, you know, slot them in, just get used to the layout of the song, and it's easy as pie. What I did with my